What is up, guys? Bob Gar here, and I wanted to record a quick closing thoughts for the $10 Dragonstorm deck, which is actually $20. I don't know. I just keep calling everything $10, even though I'm upping the budget just slightly from what it used to be to make some of the decks a little bit more competitive. $19.99. That looks like something they'd put in a store. So we went 3-2 technically. I say that because I don't think we were exactly. This was in the tournament practice lobby. It was not in actual leagues. And usually in the tournament practice lobby, I run into, like, I've been jamming games in there quite a bit. I run into like a lot of Jund, a lot of Tron, a lot of all these like super top tier crazy decks. Like that's probably 80% of what I run into. I played 5 games with this deck. Actually, technically, I played 6, and I ran into like one top tier deck in Bogles, and then every other deck we ran into was more or less a budget fringe deck, which is fine. It's still fun to play against. I still like posting those videos. I think it's neat to look at the other janky decks that other people are playing. But we went 3-2 because we ended up against mostly those janky decks. So Bogles, we got a little lucky that they just ended up slightly slow in 2 games, and we managed to eke out the wins. And then we lost to Bant Spirits, and which is, I don't know if it's really Bant Spirits. I don't know exactly what it was. It looked like Bant Spirits plus Thalia for some reason, plus Jace for some reason, even though those don't even combo together. So I mean, it had good cards in it, but I wasn't quite sure what it was going for. But yeah, we lost to that deck, just got overrun. I think we had a good chance. I think it came down to a Spellcaller, but I could be wrong. I don't remember the match that well. And then I just played the makeup match against a affinity list, and we won. We took a game off them, and we were 1 life point really away from taking game 3. But they're just really fast. On the play, I think we had a decent chance because we can often combo off turn 4. But on the draw, against even a budget deck that is fast, you're just gonna lose. Like you know, Affinity or 8 Whack or Green Stompy or any of those, which just turn 4 kill you pretty consistently. We just have virtually no disruption. We have a little bit in the sideboard, but it's not even that good. And then it's like, do I even want to run it? Or because then it like makes me less likely to be able to go off turn 4. And I decided basically to stick it out and just try to go off turn 4, which might have been not the correct decision. I think in that last game, if I had swapped in a couple Echoing Truths, I had a chance. But I would have had to have drawn them. I don't know what I would have taken out, or if I would have drawn them, probably wouldn't have. So yeah, that was a little rough. But then everything else we ended up against was like kind of gimmicky, probably combo decks. We ran into what I called a blue-white tokens deck because that's all they showed us. I suspect it was what's it called? Polymorph deck. I suspect they were getting Emrakul or something, but they just didn't end up going off. And we ran into some Ethereum Sculptor deck that, again, I think is a combo deck, but they didn't actually show me enough to know exactly what their deck was up to. So, you know, those 2 wins, it felt nice to get wins, but basically they were just like, they're combo decks too, except they're somehow even worse than us, which is a little hard, but they managed it. But yeah, don't get this deck and expect it to go 2-3 at Modern on Friday night or something, and you're like Friday Night Modern or whatever. This deck is probably a 1-4 in general. It is a lot better with this version than it is with the other version I ran. Both of the 2 late ads that I had of Sea Beyond. I mean, there might be better cards. Nobody plays this, so I feel like there must be a better card that gives you a similar effect. But both See the Beyond and Lotus Bloom really pushed the deck into being slightly viable. Like, it just more consistently hits turn 4. And it hits turn 4 through removal disruption. I mean, hand disruption, this deck is just always going to lose to, which is super prevalent right now. It's really bad in the current meta just because Jund and things like that are very much on the rise, and so are control decks that run Jace. So I definitely don't think it's a good deck right now. But, you know, if a deck is slightly slower than turn 4, if they're like mid-range and they just happen to either not be a disruptive deck or just happen to not draw their disruption, just happen to not draw their Inquisitions or Thought Seizes, it can take wins, because it definitely, I felt like we were getting turn 4 pretty regularly. I mean, occasionally it would slip till turn 5 or something, but we were doing a pretty good job of being a relatively consistent combo deck. But it's a lot of cards, and you need to spend 10 slots on the combo, which is a lot. You have to have the 4 Dragonstorms and then 6 dragons. I do think we could probably go one lower on dragons. In retrospect, I might go one lower on dragons and +1 on some kind of search spell. I mean, I guess I could go ritual too, but I think a search spell is almost more important. Like maybe one more see beyond. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun to play, and I think it's probably the most competitive version of Dragonstorm out there. I've seen a bunch of ones that other people have done. I know Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, did some Dragonstorm decks, and I think those are a lot of them were based on other people's, and I just didn't think they were built the way that they should be built. I think this deck wants to be an all-in combo deck, and those felt too cute. They ran too many dragons. I just wasn't convinced by them, and he seemed to think they were terrible too. Admittedly, he would probably also think this one is terrible because it is. But I think this one is more of the right way to do this deck if you're going to make this kind of deck. But yeah. Don't actually make her play this deck unless you're just playing it casually with friends. But if you're playing it casually with friends, this deck is a ton of fun. It gets people a lot if they've never played against it before. They're just like, whatever, this guy's dirtling over there. Then you're like, and here are 4 dragons. You lose the game. So it's definitely fun in that respect. It can be a little frustrating too. I don't think I did too much raging out in the videos I recorded for this one. The first 5 videos, there were a couple of times I was like, oh my god, I can't take it. I just like... whatever, drew all islands for 5 turns in a row or something. And it's like, I have only blue mana and I have 2 spells in hand other than my blue mana, and you know, there is a lot of smoothing, but you know, it's still, if the Dragonstorms are all in the last quarter of your deck, you ain't gonna get them. So all right, well, I think that's it. I don't know when I'm gonna do another one of these, but I'm sure I'll do another one eventually. I'm going to slow down on the channel a little bit, but I will still keep posting for sure. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.